Episode 3 of Slow Horses Season 3 starts with Ingrid pressured by Judd over the current Tiger team up. She's not happy that MI5 have failed in their test. This is why River breaking into Park was a stupid idea, and similarly why Jackson was so adamant for him to get out. Unfortunately, Duffy is not in a forgiving mood and he headbutts River after telling him Standish is fine. He gets all of his anger out on the Slough House operative, leaving him a bloody mess on the ground. However, Sean Donovan decides to double-cross those at the agency, kidnapping the man who Standish was supposed to be handed over to. While this is going on, Shirley and Marcus fall out while on a stakeout together at Donovan's flat. Between Shirley doing drugs on the job and Marcus' gambling problem causing him to remortgage, things are prickly between them. They break into the flat and quickly realize that there's more to this than they first thought. There's a second phase to the attack, listed as Grey Books. These books apparently list all the conspiracy theories over time. But how does this tie into Jackson Lamb and Catherine? After sending pictures over to Jackson, the latter ushers his operatives back to base so Ho can take a look. Unfortunately, the police show up after receiving a tip-off about people sneaking about. Officer Mosley of the Met rings through to Jackson after finding drugs on Shirley's possession. Jackson gives them a message to pass on, "You're fired." I mean, he's a bit more colorful with his description, but you get the point. John eventually takes Chieftain's man and sends a picture over of him at gunpoint. With one of his men, and one of the MI5, Sean and his team have their own agenda, and that stems from gaining possession of the Grey Books. The books themselves have actually been relocated to Diana's secret warehouse, explaining what she was doing before. Jackson rings Diana. He wants Cartwright back. Unfortunately, River Cartwright is being beaten to bits by Duffy. In his battered state, Cartwright is eventually released and returned to Jackson Lamb. Only, he won't let River join him in the taxi, despite going the same way, given Lamb has more important things to be doing. Some of that importance comes from Ingrid, who shows up at MI5 right in the midst of them doing a big security detail and tightening things up. Diana overhears as Ingrid explains that there will be a full review of security systems after Cartwright's break-in. Diana speaks to Ingrid in private and explains that her loyalty is to her and not Peter Judd. Meanwhile, Jackson speaks to Private Security Executive Sly and explains what's going on with Donovan and the Grey Books. He needs all of it unblocked for both their sakes. When he leaves, River catches up with Louisa and they find Spider over at Carlton House. It turns out Spider's family are absolutely fine, but the same can't be said for Standish. He also tells Louisa that he forgives her for being shot. He does also apologize for her loss too. Now, in a twist of fate, it turns out Spider is actually the command and control executive officer at this place. Not only that, but he also faked the entire threat up on the bridge and has plans to be part of Peter Judd's advisory committee to improve MI5. His mission right now is to shut down Slough House. Naturally, Louisa is not happy with River, but similarly, Sly is not happy with Spider when he shows up soon after. He puts pressure on Spider to get the hostages released and refuses to let him show up for lunch with Judd. Spider shows up in a flash car to meet with Sean Donovan. He throws over a bag full of cash, but Spider doesn't understand the motivations. All he knows is money and believes this is how to get through to Donovan. When he brings up Allison, Sean lashes out and smacks him in the face, knocking him clean out and leaving a huge blood spatter across the rear window. Jackson Lamb arrives at the restaurant Judd is having lunch at with Sly and puts pressure on him to resolve this sticky situation. Jackson explains that he's got so much time now and he wants to resolve this quickly. Just then, Spider is dropped off outside by Donovan, seemingly dead given he's motionless and not blinking. You never can tell with this show though. As everyone processes what's happening, Judd receives a call from the Tiger team. The episode review. Things have just started to pick up and it's anyone's guess over exactly how this is going to play out. Spider is one of those men who thinks money can buy their way out of trouble or solve all problems. The truth is, money isn't always a motivator, and as we know, Sean Donovan's motivation seemingly stems from the past with Allison and finding the truth about her death. It could well be that there's some sort of conspiracy going on here, and he intends to try and get to the bottom of this and figure it out. With Shirley and Marcus seemingly out, Jackson Lamb absolutely chews the scenery in every scene he's in. He's such a great inclusion to this show, and Gary Oldman continues to play him to perfection. The ending hints that we're about to step it up a gear too, and quite who will come out of this in one piece remains to be seen.